Greetings and salutations, my artsy friends. How is everyone today? So good, I hope. So good. I am raring to go. I have a whole stack of all kinds of artsy bits and bobs to play with today. Just kind of whatever I'm feeling. And I was feeling kind of a lot because I was gone for a few days. And so you know how that goes. When you're away from your art desk, when you're away from your studio, then holy tamale, then you get filled up with all kinds of inspiration. At least I do, that's for sure. So today I wanted to continue sharing some cool stuff with my good morning Debbie with my Unity stamps. So today, and then I want to make some artsy postcards and some index cards of the day. I got all the things. If you're brand new here, if you would like, follow and subscribe to Corbiere-Scott Designs on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And then if you would share today's post, like today's post, leave comments, all of that stuff will help me. That's for sure. And share any of the posts that you think might be fun for other people to see. Okay, so today I want to talk about You Are All Kinds of Wonderful. This stamp set from Unity is a giant lilac. And I think I told you guys when I was home the last time, our whole family went to Mackinac Island together, and one of the things that I brought back for myself was a little lilac bush. It's only supposed to grow to 2 to 3 feet tall, and so it's still in its original container. But I will repot it, and have it grow in my house until it cools down here, and then I'll put it outside for a bit, see how it fares, and then bring it back inside when it gets hot again. That's my plan. We'll see what happens with that. So so today I'm going to play with the You're All Kinds of Wonderful stamp set. So it's a big oversized stamp. So remember, you can do like a slimline something with this, or you could make an art piece to put in your art journal, or you can cut it up. That's the beauty of all these big stamps, is that you can cut them up too. Cut the stamped images, not the stamp. And it comes with 2 sentiments: You are all kinds of wonderful, and thank you kindly. So I'll show you what I did with it. So I took I did a couple versions. So I took a jelly print that I had done in some blues and purples, and then I stamped it, the whole stamp on there. So my idea is that I want to enhance these bit by bit, and then fussy cut, and then I stamped the leaves onto a different piece of art paper that I'm going to fussy cut those, and then put it adhere them there, and then I'll have this funky kind of collage-y something for my art journal. That's my plan. So I'm thinking I want to fiddle with a white gel pen because I want to pop everything just a little bit, and then I don't know where I'm going to go with that. So I'm thinking if I fill in the centers of all of these little flowers with white, that's going to make a difference. That's going to give me more definition for the first little bit. So, like I said, I was gone over the weekend. Jeff and I flew to Dallas for our niece's wedding, and it was so hot and humid. You guys, my hair was so big and curly. I was rocking the pony the whole time. But I the wedding was lovely, and the reception was lovely, and the rehearsal dinner was lovely. But we only had like a couple of family obligations. We only had the rehearsal dinner and then the ceremony and the reception, and so then we were on our own for the rest of the time. And here's the thing: our brother-in-law and sister-in-law live in a suburb of Dallas called Frisco. A long time ago, and I mean a long time ago, Jeff and I lived. Jeff worked for a company that had, I mean, this is back like 1990. They had something called Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3. And he worked for a company called EDS, and it was Ross Perot's old company. So it was, an entirely different kind of time in the world. Let's see. I'm feeling like I want to brighten these a little bit, and I don't know. I'm not sure where I want to go, but I want to keep these leaves out so I can kind of match up colors. So I'm feeling like let's start with a little lime peel. Let's see what happens. Just get a little bit of green on there. Good morning, Vicki. How are you today? So, Keels, has the weather calmed down around you? Holy smokes. I think I want to just, like, all of the little bits that look like they might be green, I'm just going to color with my lime peel because I love me some lime peel. Let's see. So here. There we go. So anyway, we lived in Plano, and which is right next to Frisco. And here's the crazy thing: when we lived there, there was the EDS building, which was kind of like the Taj Mahal, because it was set. There was nothing else really going on there. It was the craziest. Like it was. Let's see if we can lighten a little bit. See if that makes a difference. There was hardly anything there in the whole area. I mean, it was just fields and fields and fields. So there was the Taj Mahal, that's where Jeff worked. And then there was this corporate housing that I lived in, and I was the only spouse that went with their husband to Phase 2. And I got kind of lonely. I would like talk to the cleaning people who only spoke Spanish, but I was just so happy to have somebody else to talk to. And I did find like a craft store so I could go get some inspiration, and then I'd go back to the apartment, and I watched Steel Magnolias more times than you can even imagine. I still love that movie. Ooh, this is helping, I think, a little bit. Anyway, be that as it may. So, we're familiar with that area. It's just been a while. So, like I said, we had this free time, and we were staying in the town of Denton, which is we lived in Plano in 1990. 1990. Maybe 1991. Part of 1990 and part of 1991. It was a long time ago. I taught myself how to make tortillas. They were horrible, but I taught myself. And I taught myself how to make bagels. Guess what? They were also horrible. But it passed the time. Anyway, so we stayed in this little town called Denton, which is another suburb of Dallas, north of Dallas. Anyway, one day we had time in the day, and so we, the first day we went to the George W. Bush Presidential Library, and that, you know, I love me a presidential library. It was fascinating. It was interesting because I had just been to President Johnson's, so that was still pretty fresh in my mind. And it was completely different. And I was describing it to my kid. I said, you know, I found President Johnson's library easier to follow, and I think it was because the photos were all black and white, and so they didn't compete with each other. Do you know what I mean? When they had like a big photo collage on the wall. So that was interesting, but it was also, there was also a they always have these separate exhibits in the adjacent to the library. And this one in President Johnson's, it was about American music. That was fascinating. And this one was freedoms and different kinds of leadership. It was fascinating. Like, I wasn't completely clear on what an oligarch was, and then there were, like, there's different kinds of monarchies, and there's different kinds of, it was fascinating. It was, you know, dictatorships and all the things. I think maybe the black gel pen next. Anyway, it was fascinating. Ooh, everybody take a drink. Let's see. I wonder if I deepen some of these blacks. Not all of them, but some of them. We'll see. I don't know. Yeah, I'm liking that. Anyway, it was amazing. And then the presidential library was just, you know, it was so amazing. The things I like to look at, well, I like to look at kind of everything. I just kind of get lost in the, I told you, the, presidential libraries are like a time capsule in American history. And I really like that, because it does take you right back. So, like, there was a big 9/11 component of his library. Mrs. Bush was, her platform was childhood literacy, so there was a huge, like, there were lots of children's book displays, and you know that's right up my alley. And I'm trying to think. Like, there was certainly, like, the White House china. That's always kind of interesting and fun to see. And now I'm going over all these lines, you guys, so now I'm committed. It's just You know me, I can't stop. Like I start and then I feel like, well, now I gotta keep going. I think it's kind of cool. It's giving it some shine, which is kind of fun on the base of the jelly print. I love the juxtaposition of all those different art mediums coming together to create one amazing something, you know. Look at that. Oh, you guys, I'm loving it. I'm loving it, loving it. So this was George W. Bush's library, and it's in Dallas. So a couple of like things that I told you, I love looking at like the First Lady's gowns, and I love looking at the White House china, and they always have like kind of a lot of different chinas, and they also have gifts that they received from other statesmen from other countries. So remember, I was just talking about, this is so crazy. Life is crazy how things just kind of serendipitously kind of weave in and out of your consciousness. So last week, or maybe the week before, I was talking about my art classes in college, and that I had done some ceramics and pottery, and one was a finish called raku, and that it was kind of like when it was dry, I remember it was like the piece was lavenders, like in shades of lavenders, and the finish looked really ethereal. And so imagine my surprise when I'm looking through all the different gifts, and they had all the different gifts like separated by like the Americas and Asia and the Middle East, right? Although, so there was, I just stopped in my tracks because I saw this vase and I was like, oh, that's that same glaze, that glaze technique. Anyway, it was from the wife of the Prime Minister of Thailand to Mrs. Bush. But I was, oh my gosh, it was so amazing. So I will post a picture of that in the group so you can see what I'm talking about. Oh my gosh, it was so cool. They had a replica of the Oval Office, and I told Jeff I really wanted to, like, I took some pictures in there because I had taken pictures in President Johnson's Oval Office, and I wanted to kind of compare the two, like, what were the rugs like then, and what artwork did they choose to hang on the walls, and it was fascinating. Like President Bush, there was a docent, and he talked about how there are two pieces of art that are always in the Oval Office, and that is a portrait of George Washington that hangs over the mantle, and there's a portrait of that one is always there, and then another president who greatly influenced that president, and George W. Bush chose Abraham Lincoln. And so that was fascinating. And then there's these other things that that president can choose. So, but there's some things that they can't choose, but that are always there. So above on the mantle of that fireplace, which is, so here's where the Resolute desk is, and here's where the fireplace is. So that so the president is, that's right in front of them, right? It's all within their sight line, certainly, because it's a big oval. But here, there's some ivy that is on that mantle, and that was brought, Jacqueline Kennedy brought that in, and I'm trying to remember where that came from. Anyway, it's never stopped being there, and the ivy that's there now is from that same root system of the one that Jacqueline Kennedy put there. So there's just, like, everything is so steeped in history, you know. There's a grandfather clock that they don't call a grandfather clock, but there's a grandfather clock that stays right, and everything kind of stays in this sort of the same places. And then the president gets to choose artwork. And now I don't remember what President Johnson's artwork was, but I took pictures, so I could kind of see that. I will say, like, I was surprised that the Oval Office isn't as big as I thought it would be. Just kind of interesting. But in the presidential office, President Bush's was bigger than President Johnson's, because President Johnson's was an eighth smaller than it really is. Does that make sense? I'm sure for space, you know, they have different, everybody's got their own criteria, what they want. We did, this other docent was talking about each president gets to bring something with them to their library. And so, like, President Johnson, I think his was a car. Like, his was a I think it was like a big Lincoln, maybe. So I don't know if that was, I don't know. But anyway, a big car. And, but President Bush, W., chose to bring the Situation Room. So the Situation Room was getting remodeled or refurbished or whatever when he was leaving, and so he brought the Situation Room that he used during most of his presidency. Everything gets boxed up, and it got brought to the library, and then they put it up as a display, and so we got to go in there and sit, and it is much smaller than it looks when you see pictures of them. It was just, the whole thing was so fascinating. It was so fascinating. What else did I want to tell you about? Oh. So when we went to Denton one day, we went to lunch at this place called Rooster's Roadhouse, and it was all Texas barbecue, and it was delicious. And we had, there was a salad on the menu called a double wide, and I kept looking at the ingredients, and I was like, that's like a Midwest taco salad. And I almost got that, but then Jeff was like, do you want to split a salad? So we split a Cobb, which was super, super good. Maybe it was a chopped salad. I love a chopped salad. Anyway, it had, but the double wide had greens, cheese, pico, beans, Fritos, ground beef, and Catalina dressing. That is a Midwest taco salad. It was so interesting. But the salad that came with my brisket was, it was called tomato corn salad. Oh, you guys, it was fascinating. It was black-eyed peas, tomato and corn, obviously, black-eyed peas, green peppers, balsamic vinegar, and way too many onions. So I just kind of ate around all the onions, but it was super good and like fresh. And that place was just cute as could be. It was cute as could be. And so, and that was all like in downtown Denton. So that was cool. And in downtown Denton, there was around the city, there was, like, every now and again you'd see a Where's Waldo. Well, come to find out, they had, there were over 25 hidden Where's Waldos throughout, like, a whole bunch of different businesses in downtown Denton. So that was kind of cool. Just fun, you know. Let's see. Oh! Then, so we're walking around, and it was hot as Hades. And I know that's crazy coming from me who lives in Phoenix, but I'm going to tell you, it was so humid. It was so humid. Anyway, we saw an art installation that was really quite interesting. So there was just this little nook of a park, and it was, there were these big round discs on either side, on the edges of this installation, and then at the very back there was a wall, and on that wall were 66 discs telling the story of the Denton Women's Interracial Fellowship commemorative art. So the discs all told the story of their work toward racial equity and the story of the fellowship. It was just amazing. It was amazing. So I took lots of pictures of that. There was a place that we went inside of, and we didn't have time because then we had to go get ready for the wedding, but it was called Bramblets, BRAMBLITT''S, Bramblets Yellow Dog Art Bar. So you know I had to go in there. So I went in, and it was really cool. There was a, you went in, and there was art everywhere. On the walls, on the ceiling, everywhere. And it was like fine art and other kinds of art, like all different kinds of art, which was so cool. But at the back of that place, there were easels set up on the side where you could paint if you wanted. And there was something, hey Nancy, and then there was something it was like, as you went back a little ways, there was like this little nook, sort of like a closet-y area. It was filled with artsy kits that you could purchase, and you could so you could just sit and make a project. It was so cool. And it was all different things. It was like pottery that you could paint, or like little fiber art things you could make, or a canvas where you could make a painting. So the whole like the theme of the place was certainly art, but it was also service dogs. So they had service dog paintings that you could paint, and oh my gosh, it was so cool. There was a studio down the hall, and that looked like you could rent that place and you could go sit in there and make some art. There was this giant, and when I say giant, I mean I bet like 4 foot by 5 feet, giant palette on a wall, and the palette said, "What inspires you?" And then with Posca pens, people wrote what inspired them. It was so cool. It was so cool. So I'm just kind of loosely going over these lines, just to kind of give it a little bit. Well, I wasn't going to do all of them, but then I started and I couldn't stop. And I just like this little bit of shine that kind of makes everything pop just a little bit. Seems like there was something else I wanted to tell you about. I'm just rambling, you guys. Talk to me about, so ask me a question or something. I just keep rambling. Anybody have a question? Thanks, Nance. Isn't it cute? It's by a place called Zox. I think Zox. Isn't it cute? It's very Frida, isn't it? Very Frida-esque. Oh my gosh, you guys. So last week, at some time over the weekend, Peggy posted this quote, and I wrote it down immediately because I was like, oh, we gotta do something with that. We gotta do something with that. Okay, here it is. Art class should never stop being a thing. Like if right after our lunch breaks we all got to go down to the basement for an hour to make collages out of old magazines while somebody's eccentric aunt tells us how awesome we are, I feel like we'd all be in a better place. You guys, I just loved that. I just loved that. Oh, and so we were getting ready to leave yesterday, and of course our flight got delayed, and then we got, there we go. We got, then our gate changed. Don't you hate when the gate changes? Anyway, while we were sitting there, we just befriended this cutest little couple sitting beside us, Jim and Betty. And so they were, he was retired Air Force, very proud veteran. And so we just got to chatting, because you know Jeff says that I'll talk to anybody, and I kind of will. Anyway, then when our gates changed, we had to bring them along with us, because we were like, oh gosh, because they were quite a bit older, and I got nervous that they wouldn't be able to find where they needed to go. And then we found out that they lived right near us. How crazy is that? And then we found out, so then we got to the second gate, and we were waiting, and they were like, what zone are you, for boarding the plane? And I said 3. I said, how about you guys? And she said 9. And I said, oh gosh, well, I guess we'll see ya, when we get home. We'll see ya around home. And then they finally got on the plane, and no kidding, weren't they sitting right behind Jeff? Crazy. So that was lovely. It was a lovely, oh my gosh, they were so dang cute. Jim and Barb, you're right, Kales, you're right. I think I wrote down Betty. Oh my gosh, they were so cute. She had gone to the bathroom at one point, and she came back with a McDonald's sundae for him and for her. And he goes, what's this? And she goes, just a sweet surprise. So dang cute. Oh my gosh, I just loved it. So I want you to just, as I'm creating this, I hope that you will do the same. I had these 2 pieces that I stamped, this one and this one, And it didn't stamp well because the stays-on pad that I was using was sticky. That's a frustration. Anyway, but you can just work with that a little bit. All is not lost. Do you know what I mean? All is not lost. You can always make something more. Make something more. Take it to the next level. Oh, look, I found a couple that I didn't color in. There, 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 there. Look at this. I found all kinds that I didn't color that I thought I had. No, I think in the end this is going to be amazing. Amazing. Okay. So I want to talk for a minute about my upcoming class. You guys have got to sign up for it because I have so much information and oh my golly, we're going to have so much fun. So it's called Back to Art School 101. So 101 means there's going to be more than one, right? So this one is all about crayons. Just a lowly box of crayons. And I wrote lowly on my in my description, and I thought, is that even how you spell lowly? I've only ever said lowly. I've never written it. So I'm feeling ready to teach a class again, and so I'm super excited. So go back to school shopping. And I have a second class already in the works. But this one, I'm going to show you lots of techniques. So we're going to make some reference sheets so you always have that with you for ways to use your crayons. And then we're going to play with those techniques a little bit, kind of get comfortable with them. And then in the end, we're going to make an art piece utilizing all those techniques that we've learned. Or just some of them, whichever ones kind of speak to you. But anyway, when I was in Texas, I had to walk through the school supplies, and I found a box of 150 Crayolas, and I really thought about getting it, but then I thought I've got to carry that home in my suitcase. Everybody, take a drink. So I did not. But you can sign up right now. Go over to my website and it is it is up and ready. Bye, Vicky. Have a great lunch with your friends. I have two littles at my house for the next couple weeks, so I can't wait to just hang with them. We're not going to melt them. You could certainly melt them if you wanted, but that's not what I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you so many ways to use them. And we're going to make amazing stuff with them. I guess I'm just going to keep working on this. That wasn't in my criteria, but I guess we can... No, but now I'm dying to get that box of 150. Because I'm like, oh my gosh, all the colors, all the colors, all the colors. No, I didn't. Keely, now I gotta look. Oh, they could melt, believe me. But I'm just going to tell you right this minute. The minute we got out of the airport, when you walk out to the parking garage, the minute we got out, we were like, it is a dry heat. And we so prefer a dry heat. It was crazy. It was crazy. So has anybody gone school supply shopping yet? it's one of my favorite times of year. I love going school supply shopping. So this year, I did find dot, that dot lined notebook. That was my big find this year. And I'm on the hunt for a new kind of colored pencil. So Keely, while you're out and about, every place I've looked for them here has been sold out, but I'm going to be using them in my next class. So, they are from Crayola, and they're called swirly colored pencils. So if you see them, snap them up, because they're going to be used. We're going to use those in Back to Art School 102. I think I'm almost done with my gel pen work. Let's see. I just love layers and layers. Don't you just love layers and layers and layers and layers? Like, I just love that you can see all those artsy bits behind, you know? Oh, very cool, Denise. I love that. I love that. Let's see. Well, now I'm dying to see, Keels. Dying to see. So I'm thinking, how are we doing on time, you guys? Oh, Aunt Nancy, what did you give them? I'm dying to know now. Alright. Almost done. Then I can start the fuzzy cutting process, which I can't wait. I can't wait to do that part. A bag full of hard stuff. I love that. I love that. Oh my gosh, I'm sure they're going to have themselves a time. Post pictures, Denise, of what you guys make, or of your art supplies, or of you and your grandson. I don't care, whatever you want. I am going to post a picture also of, we were going to this restaurant. Oh, Michelle, I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry that you have COVID. It stinks so bad. So I'm going to post, I will post back to art school 102, so that you know what supplies to get. Mostly for 101, you need oh, Deb, I'm so sorry. You know what's so crazy? I just got my second booster. I don't know, I thought I had gotten it. But here's another crazy thing. I had asked when I went, I had a doctor's appointment, and I asked for my I asked for scissors. I asked for my first shingles, and she was like, Anne, you already got your first shingles. We need to give you your second shingles. How crazy is that? I completely forgot. I don't know what was going on. Craziness. I'm going to save some of this excess, though, because I'm feeling like I want to do some, like, pieces to go with it. Like, remember when we made the artsy stamps with the hair thinning scissors? I'm thinking that might be kind of cool. So I want to try and cut as much of this off as possible. So I could make a stamp with that. I could put something like a postage stamp kind of thing in there, or I could use in the artsy Rolodex fodder, there's a postage stamp that I drew that we could fill with some of that, right? So cute. Oh, thank you. Did you say thank you to your brother? That was so nice, Deb. I right now for sure, back to art school 101 and 102 are planned. Maybe 103, and it's back to art school, so it might not just be school supplies. I feel like we could kind of keep it going. Do you know what I mean? We could keep it going with other art supplies. That's what I'm thinking. There you go, Michelle. Yay. It is called, do you know what? Let me write it down here. So they are Crayola. So, and I looked a whole bunch of Crayola. Whoops. Crayola. Swirly. Colored pencils. But we're also going to do things with, so here's the other shopping lists when you go to Target or Walmart or Office Max or wherever. We're going to play with glue sticks. Now I'm just having to rely on my memory, which, I will write all this down somewhere. But glue sticks. I found my paper. Glue sticks, highlighters, and you don't have to buy all of these new if you don't want. You can certainly, I'm sure if you have them at your house. School glue. You could get markers if you like. The markers I like are by Crayola, and they're called Super Tips. I just love those. So you can do all kinds of things with these markers. And if you happen to see 4x6 index cards, I love to just have those on hand. Now's a really, these are ones that we're going to make stuff out of, but some other things that you might just consider. This is a really good time to find Sharpies. I usually put a back to school shopping list in a newsletter, so maybe I'll do that with this Friday's newsletter. I'll put my back to school shopping list just for making art. Sharpies, rulers. Like I can always find like an unusual ruler. Like sometimes I like to have rulers that are like I can find an unusual shape of one, or I can find an unusual, like I like a clear ruler. I like a 6-inch ruler because I can stick that in an art bag. But you know, this is a great time to look for rulers of unusual size. Sharpeners. And sometimes I get more than one sharpener because maybe I use one sharpener for pencils and one sharpener for crayons. You know, all the things. Whiteout pens. Those are cool. Whoops. Yeah, I wrote that right. Sorry. Honest to God. White out pens. I thought I wrote right. I didn't. I wrote white, but then I started to write right. Honest to Pete. White out pens. Those are fun for highlights and stuff. Composition books. This is the time to look for composition books. And crayons. But just note for crayon class, you absolutely don't need like the biggest box. You can just get what you can afford, what you can. You know me, I don't purport to think that you can only make art with, you know, the finest of supplies. I want to show you lots of cool things that you can do with back to school art supplies, but then, yes, because they're 50 cents right now. They're 50 cents, Deb. Composition books are 50 cents right now. So I'm telling you, if you want the lined ones, those are easier to find, but they also have the graph ones. Beth, how are you? Oh my goodness. How are you, my dear friend? Beth took every class I taught at Scraps of Love. And we just had ourselves a connection. Didn't we, Beth? So, Crayola swirly colored pencils. Be on the lookout for those. Now I'm going to fussy cut this. And then I'm going to fussy cut my leaves. I like that these are shiny and this is not. I like that that's kind of a cool combo, right? Looks like I need a little more. There we go. You just have to dig. Like Walmart almost always has them. Target almost always has them. But even if they're full, if they're not 50 cents, they're like $1. That's the time to, now's the time to snatch them up. The time to snatch them up. So I'm going to leave just a little bit of this pretty, you know, I like to do a loose fuzzy cut because I want that art paper to kind of still be part of everything. So I like to leave just a little bit of a like a rim of that. And there's nothing, you know, it's not like 1/8 of an inch around, or it's just kind of how I cut. It's not, there's no rhyme or reason. There we go. Look at that. OMG. I'm loving that so much. Put it on a piece of white so you can see that how it's going to look. So cool, right? So let's do our comfort book, and then I will bid you adieu. Words. So yes. Oh, there's a words one. Let's do words one first. At the university, doing my master's degree in English literature, I continually felt stupid. And the reason for this was that I had chosen a module called Critical Theory. This involved reading a lot of French postmodern and post-structuralist philosophy, which even when translated into English contains so many apparently deliberately and playfully obscure sentences that I had to stare at each one for about a half an hour to even begin to fathom it. In particular, I studied just enough to know that there is always a gap between the signifier and the signified. The word dog is not a dog. The word water is not water. A painting of a pipe is not a pipe. TV footage of a war is not war. On the whole, these theories came across in really complicated and obtuse ways to state the depressingly obvious. We are always grasping after a meaning we can never quite reach. But when I became ill, they took on a broader meaning. I felt like a walking signifier, signifying a person I could never quite be, and there was a gap between what I looked like and what I felt like. And the only way to bridge that gap was by talking and writing about what was going on inside me. And yes, in the philosophical sense, words are never quite the thing they describe, but that is also their use. They can help internal things. The moment we try and turn a thought into words, we place it into a shared world. This shared world we call language. Once we take our personal unseen experiences and make them seen, we help others and even ourselves to understand what we are going through. What we say aloud can never quite capture what we feel inside, but that is almost the point. Words don't capture, they release. So good. Oh, Beth, I think of you so often and always fondly. Always, always fondly. Let's try and meet up sometime, have lunch or something. Send me a message. I adore you all. Thank you so much for joining me. And I hope that you will go over to the Unity website and look under stamps, and it says by artist, and then look under my name and you'll see all kinds of my stamps. So I'm just going to keep sharing things I'm making with my stamps. So today is You're All Kinds of Wonderful, and you are all kinds of wonderful. Thank you so much, everybody, and I will see you tomorrow in Stitch Along. And then on Thursday, I'll see you right back here for art journaling. Hopefully, I have this piece ready to put on a page. I adore you all. Love you too, Denise. I love each and every one of you so very much. Thanks so much for always being my touchstone. Bye, everyone.